Have you been dealing with fatigue and thinning hair and sleep issues, and you've been told you might have a thyroid issue, but when you get your labs tested, they come back normal? Hi there, I'm Dr. Andrea Shanowski from Freedom Chiropractic and Holistic Health in the Peoria Metro Center. And I am here today because I want to talk to you a little bit more about what happens when you are suffering with fatigue. What happens when you're suffering with thinning hair and sleep issues and all of your labs come back normal. Well, a lot of times when we have laboratory testing done and it comes back as normal, a lot of times we may need to actually look a little bit deeper for functional issues where the organ systems themselves aren't working at an optimal level, or sometimes we may have something going on in our body that's actually shutting down the function and depressing function of other organ systems. A lot of times when people are told, hey, you've got fatigue, you've got thinning hair, you've got sleep issues, that's all in your thyroid, that may actually be incorrect. It may not actually be a thyroid issue, because in many cases, thyroid symptoms are a kind of a signal that we have a bigger issue going on. Thyroid function is actually underneath adrenal function. It is directed by hypothalamus and pituitary function. So when we have thyroid issues, there's usually something going on higher up in our brain that's affecting hormones on the downstream, which can affect your thyroid function. So in many cases, when I have patients that have had lab testing done and it maybe showed some thyroid issues, they started meds, it's not really changing anything, they're not really feeling a whole lot better, and a lot of those symptoms are still there, that may actually be because a couple things are missed. So it's very important to understand that when you are dealing with fatigue, that may be your body's way of telling you something's not working right, and those resources are being stolen away. Sometimes when it comes to fatigue, we may notice that it's very hard to get up and get moving first thing in the morning. We may notice that we're having crashes in the afternoon or after meal times where all of a sudden it seems like you are falling asleep as you're sitting up. Or in some cases, I have some patients that have noticed they're crashing at like 7, 8 o'clock, and they literally feel like they need to go to sleep as early as possible because otherwise they can't function at nighttime because their body is crashing by the end of the day. Those are actually signals of an adrenal problem going on where your adrenal gland may not be dealing with producing cortisol properly at the right time. So if cortisol is not high enough in the morning, a lot of times it's very hard to get started and start our day. A lot of times if you start your day fine, or sometimes if you're rough in the morning, we may notice that after meal times and the stress of just simply digesting that food and getting through our day, all of a sudden we have these crashes in the afternoon where we're having to, bump up, we're eating more frequently, we may be living off of caffeine or having to snack on chocolate to give us some sugar and energy to keep going throughout the day. But a lot of times what can happen is we have cortisol crashes in the afternoon and blood sugar crashes in the afternoon because that adrenal gland is actually shutting down function of all those other systems. I've also had some patients that, they're crashing at the end of the day. Their body pretty much has been trying to fight to stay awake all day. And then by the time evening hits, their body's like, okay, white flag, I'm done for the day, I surrender, and you just crash. I've also had some patients that they wake up in the middle of the night, like say 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and they wake up and there is no way that they can get back to sleep because their body is woken up kind of in a panic and they're never able to calm things down again to actually get back to sleep. So if you are having some struggles with fatigue, whether that's throughout the day or just getting started in the morning, if you're having issues with sleep, whether you're waking up frequently or just cannot slow your mind down, those may be symptoms that you have an HPA axis disorder going on. So that's hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal gland. So that's going to be basically inside of your brain. Your hypothalamus is going to deal with mood and stimulation of other systems. Your pituitary gland actually signals not only hormone balance, but also thyroid function and tells your thyroid gland to make thyroid hormones. And a lot of times what will happen is if we are in a heightened state of that fight or flight kind of chronic stress, eating poor diet, not sleeping well, which moms, that's really us to a T, that can actually cause that axis to shift where your body focuses rather on rest and digestion and detoxification. Your body's actually in a fight or flight, kind of like a constant panic state where it is constantly going, where's our energy coming from? Okay, we don't have food coming in. We need to break down things to give us blood sugar. It's constantly managing resources kind of in that panic mode. And what happens is it actually trains your body not to be able to lower its guard to be able to sleep at night, not able to lower its guard to digest your food properly. So you may be having digestive issues going on. You may notice that, when you are eating food, it's not digesting well. You might have issues with heartburn or bloating, or even pain in your digestive tract because your body's not functioning properly. But a lot of times when we're looking at these hormones, like I said, sometimes when you're having symptoms of fatigue and sleep issues and hair thinning, it's not necessarily a thyroid issue. So if your labs come back and your doctor finds a need for thyroid medication, that may be helpful for supporting thyroid function, but we're ignoring the main cause, which may actually be an HPA axis disorder. So I'm a big proponent in my office of functional testing. So looking at your diet, looking at your sleeping habits, looking at not just lab values of thyroid function, but also looking at how your adrenal gland is functioning throughout the day, looking at your actual female hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, to make sure those are not only in the normal range, but actually balancing each other out, because estrogen and progesterone have to play nice. If they are not working together, we can have symptoms of estrogen dominance. We can have symptoms of weight gain, even though we haven't changed anything with our diet. We may have issues with sleep. We may have issues with immune function. We can have issues with mood disorders like anxiety, depression, simply because our body is in that fight or flight mode and nothing else is going to be working properly. So if this sounds like you and you're not really getting answers, you're not really getting solutions, nobody's really looking deeper, or they're chalking it up to anxiety, give my office a call. I have found that sometimes just simply sitting down and figuring out what your diet and your sleep habits look like, seeing what we can do to support your adrenal gland and the HPA axis can get things calmed down so they function well. In some cases, especially if it's been going on for a long time, I may actually have to work with you on dietary changes and digestive support herbals. We may have to look at hormone balance. We may have to support the hormone system. We may have to look at thyroid function and even look at ways that we can support all these different issues in many systems so that you can get results and not only feel better, but actually heal better as well and sleep better. Because if you're not sleeping well, that's when your body actually will recover from the day. That's when healing takes place. That's when detoxification takes place. That's when your body turns over a lot of things. So if you're not getting good sleep, that's going to be really hard for your body to heal. So you can't heal without sleep. So if you're not sleeping well, you can't heal. If you're not getting the right things, digesting well, you can't heal either. So a lot of these things kind of work together against you, and you're not going to get results without knowing what is the root cause and what do I need to do for it. So if you need some more help, please feel free to either comment below. You can send me a message on our website, freedompeoria.org, or you can follow along. We do have quite a few other YouTube videos specifically on stress and hormones and how that affects many different conditions. I also have some looking at stress and anemia, because a lot of times those digestive conditions can also cause some issues with anemia too. So have a great rest of your day. Turns out they actually had a problem going on with their HPA axis, or hypothalamus pituitary adrenal function, that was actually causing not only sleep issues, but it was also causing issues with digestion, issues with energy production, and also affecting their fertility and their hormone balance. So if that sounds like you, we might be able to help.